about this from the beginning. It would seem to me we have more that we could adjust and be successful than Bivol does, because in the grand scheme of things, he can't fight with her. He can't say, okay, this time I'm going to go toe-to-toe. He can't do that. We know he can't do that.
You cannot just escape and run away. You need to fight, and if he's willing to take that risk, we'll see the result.
I thought he won it by a few rounds. I watched it back. It was close, but I still thought he won it. This time round, I think it'll be the 13th round of the last fight.
With only a few days left, Beterbiev's coaches have made some astonishing declarations, clearly indicating that the odds are in favor of Beterbiev's victory once again. Artur Beterbiev's coach, Mark Ramsey, recently shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch with Dmitry Bivol. Reflecting on their previous fight, Ramsey noted that Beterbiev struggled to land clean shots. Nevertheless, he expressed strong confidence that this time, Beterbiev will deliver significantly more damage to Bivol.
Because in the first fight, we really beat him up physically, like you say, but it was never really clean punch that we are able. He came. We have to give him that. He came with a very strong, tight defense in that fight, and we was not able to really make him do a bad move and catch him right on the chin or right. Majority of the punch was on the guard and outside of the straight punches, straight right. He was hard to catch, very clean. I think we can do a way better job at this, using the right angle and the right punch at the right moment, and of course it will do a lot.
Their last bout was truly a clash of aggression versus skills, where Beterbiev gained a decisive victory over Bivol. Many people were pointing out that it was a close fight, and Bivol had showcased his boxing skills at an unpredictable level. Renowned boxing analyst Russ Anber reflected his thoughts on their previous bout, and went on to suggest that Dmitry Bivol will need to come up with something extraordinary this time.
Bivol's going to have to come up with something. He's going to have to pull something out of the hat to come up with a better performance and overtake whatever Beterbiev brings to the table. So, but at least it's a great fight. At least it matches, the rematch is made, and that's great for boxing.
Sharing his thoughts on the previous bout between Beterbiev and Bivol, Russ noted that Beterbiev fought more conservatively in that fight. He said, "I think he had surgery on the knee. He wasn't coming back, wasn't as forceful as he usually is. He seemed to be a lot more conservative. I personally gave him the edge at the end of the fight. I thought he closed out the last 3 rounds quite solidly. I thought he showed that he was able to hurt Bivol. I think he can improve on his performance." On the other hand, Teddy Atlas noticed that Bivol has to take care of what not to do in this rematch. Reflecting his views on the previous battle between Bivol and Beterbiev, Teddy Atlas went on to share his observations, stating that it was Beterbiev who actually was the winner, and he was the one who deserved this victory.
He did everything he had to do to win that fight the first time. What he has to not do, and I think the perfect encapsulation of this, Bud, would be, bear with me if I'm wrong with the round, but either way, I'm not wrong with what happened. Around the 7th round, blew past the midway point. Around the 7th round of a fight that he might have been winning. Tough fight. But I thought Beterbiev came on in the championship rounds and won the fight.
Elaborating his statements, Teddy suggested that in the 7th round, it was Bivol who had everything under his control. He praised the fighting skills of Bivol, especially at that time around the 7th round, and went on to resemble his performance to James Arness's character in the famous television series Gunsmoke.
In the 7th round, there was a moment where he was I don't want to say dominating the round, he was controlling the round. Bivol was controlling the round. He was doing what he had to do. He was counterpunching, he was controlling the outside, keeping Beterbiev from setting up, owning the geography that he wanted, which was in close. He was owning the geography on the outside, Bivol was. And he was using his hands well, he was putting punches together well, sweet music. And then he wasn't hanging around. He got out, he got to the side, he gave angles, and he picked up again. He was like that Gunsmoke TV series where the sheriff says you gotta be out of Dodge by noon. Be out of Dodge by noon.
Teddy also applauded the strong combinations Bivol threw in the 7th rounds, but asserted that he should not have thrown multiple punches at one time. He strictly went on to advise Bivol on what he should avoid doing this time.
So he threw, I think it was like a 5-punch combination. He should have threw a 4-punch. even a 3. If you would have threw 1 punch less, it's what you don't. You gotta know what not to do. Don't stay there too long. Don't throw 1 punch too long. Don't get a little greedy. Don't lose track of the watch, the time. Noon. You gotta get out of Dodge by noon.
Meanwhile, Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol are both gearing up for their much-anticipated rematch, each exuding confidence as the fight night approaches. Along with their remarks, Bivol emphasized that he is not dwelling on the result of their previous bout, concentrating entirely on the challenge before him.
Into the rematch, are you more confident than you were for the first fight, or the same?
Same.
Dmitry, are you more confident or the same?
Doesn't matter. I don't care what happened before. I just new fight, a new challenge.
Although many have lauded Bivol for his performance in the first fight against Beterbiev, Bivol himself sees things differently. While others may think he won, for him, it's about more than just the outcome. He recently opened up, stressing that his focus is on what truly matters to him in this situation.
You know, I didn't think about, oh, I won or I lose. I was thinking about this moment in the fight wasn't good. This moment was good. I have a fight. I have to create much more good moments. That's it. It's not necessary to think about. You cannot change anything. You cannot complain about that, oh, I didn't win or I won, but they didn't give me the win. It makes you weak. It doesn't help you for the preparation. This is why I decided, no, it doesn't matter. Fight is done. I have another fight. I have to work on another fight. Moving forward.
As fight day draws near, Beterbiev has vowed to deliver one of the best performances of his career for his fans. Meanwhile, Bivol has acknowledged that Beterbiev has unquestionably established himself as the premier knockout artist, but before their first encounter.
He has 100% knockouts before the first fight.
At the same time, assistant trainer John Scully shared his thoughts on the previous bout. He assumed it to be a close fight, but emphasized that Bivol went slower in the 11th round, and that paved the way for Beterbiev to dominate. While the match was viewed by many as judges' politics, John clearly stated that the performance of Beterbiev was more professional and was aimed at winning the undisputed title.
No, it was close. It was super close. I wasn't sure. You know, I thought on the, like, I put it this way, on the grand scheme of things, seeing how it played out, I was happy with how we finished so strongly and all that. And when I got in the ring, I could see Bivol, the whole left side of his face was really discolored. Like, you know, and I was happy about that. But knowing how boxing is and the judging and the politics, you know, I said, man, it's very rarely, it's crazy to say, but it's very rarely how you think it's going to be. Like when a fight is over and you go, oh, it was obviously 10 rounds to 2. Well, the judges aren't going to have it like that. It's going to be different when one way or the other. I thought that it was a really close fight, and you could see why you could give both guys credit. But I thought in terms of a professional fight and a 12-round fight and a fight for the undisputed title, I clearly see why we won it, because at the end of the fight, you know, Bivol was moving, but it got to the point where I even said to myself, like around the 11th round, I was like, come on, man, like, you know, you're trying to win the undisputed title here, you know, like I wanted him to slow down so Artur could catch him. But I was like, man, like, you're not going to win on your bike moving constantly, you know, and I think the judges obviously saw it that way as well.
John Scully highlighted the hard-hitting power of Beterbiev, recalling the damage he saw in Bivol's face. He pointed out that in the press conference, Bivol's eyes were discolored, which clearly indicates that Bivol has not healed from the injury since their fight in October. He assured that they are ready to capitalize on the same advantage this time in the rematch on February 22nd.
Well, that shows you how hard Artur's hitting in there. You know, and I saw they went to the press conference a few weeks ago, and you know, none of us went, just Artur and he went. And you could see in the pictures that the eye was discolored, like almost like it was still discolored from October, which isn't isn't unreasonable when you get that kind of damage. So either way, it's either the same injury or he's been damaged again. But that shows a susceptibility there, which obviously we're going to exploit.
John Scully went on to highlight the odds that are in favor of Beterbiev's win this time. While both of the fighters need to make adjustments, John thinks that Beterbiev has more chances to make adjustments. He made a shocking revelation that Bivol would not get enough this time to box very well.
I thought this from the beginning. It would seem to me we have more that we could adjust and be successful than Bivol does. Because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, he can't fight with her. He can't say, okay, this time I'm going to go toe-to-toe. He can't do that. We know he can't do that. And he doesn't want to do that. I know he doesn't want to do that. But he can't box more because then it'll look like he doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to blend some of that together. And either way, to win, he's going to have to make himself a little more susceptible, which is obviously in our favor. So that's where I stand on that.
Dave Coldwell also offered his perspective on the rematch, suggesting that Beterbiev would have had a better performance if he had focused on attacking the body earlier in their first fight. Coldwell expects that this time, Beterbiev will target Bivol's body right from the outset of the rematch.
I expect him to go to the body earlier because we saw towards the end of the fight, Bivol was dragged into more of a fight. And he coped with it really well. In fact, throughout the fight, in quite a few of the exchanges, he handled himself really, really well, which surprised a lot of people. But he got dragged into the fight later on. If Beterbiev was going to the body earlier, would that have happened earlier, and would he have been able to have coped for as longer periods? So I'm expecting Beterbiev to go to the body more.
Dave then went on to share his thoughts on what to expect from Bivol in the rematch, pointing out that Bivol has already felt Artur Beterbiev's power and knows exactly what he's up against. He believes Bivol will approach the fight with more confidence this time, and praised the skills and preparations of both fighters.
But also, I'm expecting Bivol, because he's now been in the ring with a monster, he knows what that power feels like, he knows what, he knows how it's going to be, and he feels as though he equipped himself really well and he coped with it. I wonder if Bivol's going to be more confident and a better fighter. I expect both fighters to be better.
Artur Beterbiev's head trainer, Mark Ramsey, spoke about the upcoming rematch on Saturday. He went on to acknowledge that Bivol is a tough opponent, and it is not easy to fight a talented boxer like him. Talking about the preparations, he did not disclose how exactly they are preparing for the rematch, but hinted at some reserved techniques that they have for Bivol.
Yes, but the first thing about this is not always what you can do, but we need to recognize that Bivol is not. He's a good boxer. Like it's a way harder to dance with a guys like this that previous opponent. But we prepare. I don't want to say what exactly we prepare. Of course, it's a tactic of the fight, but we prepare. We reserve some stuff for him Saturday night.
Reflecting on the previous fight with Dmitry Bivol, Mark Ramsey highlighted the unique skills he has noticed in Bivol. He also expressed confidence and preparedness, feeling no particular concern about anything unexpected from Bivol in the upcoming rematch.
No, the only thing I think he was way better on lateral movement. Like we all know that he have that in and out movement, but he showed that he was able to be also very good with lateral movement. But outside of that, nothing special. No.
Artur Beterbiev fought Bivol despite a leg injury, showcasing his determination for the undisputed championship. Mark Ramsey shared that with no injuries this time, the world will see the best of Beterbiev. He also emphasized the momentum gained from one fight to the next and how they're regaining strength for the rematch.
Of course, we don't want to complain because we decided last time, even with the surgery that we had, to proceed and to go to the fight. At the moment that we decide to go to the fight, we don't want to complain. We decide to go, we go and we fight the best we can. But now it's a total different situation. We have more time for his recuperation, but also the fight was even close. It's the first time that we have momentum a little bit. We're going from fight to fight, and we recuperate Artur, not at zero at beginning of training camp, but we recuperate from something better.
Former light heavyweight world champion Alexander Gvozdyk also weighed in on the potential rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Looking back on their first fight, he leaned towards Bivol. While Beterbiev is undergoing intense training for the upcoming bout, Alexander, who has faced Beterbiev himself, believes that Beterbiev is no longer at his prime and is beginning to decline as he nears 40.
Well, the first fight I was thinking is gonna be Beterbiev, but after fight, I score Bivol win, maybe like a little bit, but
You
still
thought
win this
Bivol
fight.
won?
Yeah, I got Bivol, yeah. But you know, it's usually a question either, because Beterbiev is about 40 years old, so it's either he start fading out, just getting old, because obviously when he trains he feels like he's 100%, but only when you fight this type of opponents like Bivol is, then you see the difference where your body not react as good, the same as before. Now,
Right.
I basically think that Bivol won first fight, but at the same time I have to admit that I didn't see the same Beterbiev as in his last fight, when he was super aggressive, this vicious pressure, those punches. Maybe there's two options. Maybe either Bivol didn't let him, or plus he was right. Beterbiev was coming back to the ring right after injury. Plus maybe they didn't have enough time or something, and so now it's gonna be. We're gonna see what happened.
Oleksandr continued to support Bivol in the rematch against Beterbiev, stating that Bivol is now more confident. He believes that having already faced Beterbiev, Bivol will apply the lessons learned from their first fight. Oleksandr also pointed out a crucial factor that could pave the way for Bivol's victory in the rematch.
Because Bivol's gonna be better this time, I'm sure. He's gonna be more confident, he knows what to do, he knows what he didn't do or didn't do enough. And Beterbiev, if we're gonna see like an old version of Beterbiev, like all his previous fight before Bivol, this is gonna be an interesting fight. But if he starts fading up, I think this Bivol has an advantage, because he's young, he's getting confident, and now he's supposed to do what he's supposed to do in the first fight.
The February 22nd fight card is turning out to be the best card of the century. With Beterbiev and Bivol fighting in the rematch, the expectations are quite high this time. Abel Sanchez believes Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev are clearly superior to David Benavidez. In a conversation with Marcos Villegas, Sanchez shared his thoughts analyzing Benavidez's performance against David Morrell and how he would fare against both Bivol and Beterbiev.
I honestly think that those two guys are head and shoulders above these two guys. Bivol and Beterbiev are natural 75-pounders. I want to say Bivol is a much better technically sound fighter than Benavidez. Hits a little bit harder, I think, than Benavidez, and a little stronger than Benavidez. And Morrell's got a little way to go. Now the monster, the other guy, the real monster, Beterbiev, to me, if he's able to stay busy, now he's getting at a little later age now, but he's able to stay busy with punch output against any of these guys, he beats them easy because of his strength and power. But I think that what's going to be is the detriment to him is that he may not be as busy as he used to be, just because he's getting older and maybe he's conserving a little bit more. In the Bivol fight, I thought he conserved a little too much. The first fight, maybe in this one he won't. We'll see a better Bivol and a better Beterbiev in this fight, but I don't think that either guy, Morrell or David Benavidez, is ready for those two.
The highly anticipated rematch is being widely described as a showdown between Beauty and the Beast, pitting Bivol's technical boxing skills against Beterbiev's raw power and strength. Amir Khan shared his thoughts on this exciting matchup, which is considered one of the top fight cards of the Riyadh season.
Bivol, in my opinion, he's a better boxer, he moves well, he boxes well. He still hits hard. I mean, a lot of people are going to say Beterbiev's got that one knockout power. Yes, he has, but the thing is, Bivol's a good boxer where he's not going to stand there. Well, he shouldn't stand there if I was him, you know. Don't take unnecessary big punches and stuff, but yeah.
Meanwhile, Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol have arrived for the Riyadh season, both appearing determined to deliver their best performances in the upcoming rematch. Following his grand arrival, Beterbiev shared his thoughts in an interview, stating that his main focus isn't on securing a knockout, but rather on delivering good boxing and performing at his best.
It's good, like it is boxing, you know. I never focus for knockout or something. I'm more focus for do good box, you know.
Frank Warren has also shared his thoughts on the rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Despite pointing out that the last fight was a close one, Frank Warren went on to predict a win for Beterbiev. He shockingly revealed the knockout round in his recent interview as well.
Just done an interview over there. I thought the first time he won it by a few rounds. I watched it back, it was close, but I still thought he won it. This time round, I think it'll be the 13th round of the last fight. That's my opinion, but I got it wrong. I picked Beterbiev to win it last time, but changed my mind on on the result. I thought it was the other way around. But I think it's a tough fight. But I've got to go with Beterbiev. I think he knows what he's got to do. Obviously, Bivol does as well. He's a great fighter, but he's strong, Beterbiev, and you've got to hurt him. You've got to really slow him down. You've got to hurt him, and I don't know whether he can do that.
Eddie Hearn was also there at the grand event. He was earlier enraged by the decisive victory of Beterbiev in his first match with Bivol. Eddie Hearn disclosed what exactly was going on in his mind at that time.
I did feel he won. I mean, like Frank, I watched it back a couple of times actually. I had him winning every time. On the night, I thought it was wider. When I watched it back, he did lose 10, 11, 12, which was, not the best thing to do in a close fight. But I still have him winning by 2 rounds, one in a worst case scenario. So yes, it was close. But what annoyed me last time, Deb, was he didn't get a shake on any 3 of the scorecards, and one of the scorecards was 116, 112 Beterbiev. I could not see that myself.
Although Eddie Hearn did not clearly pick out of the 2 fighters, he speculated on what went in their last bout. He pointed out that despite trying to keep Beterbiev off, Bivol at one point has stopped punching, as assumed that Bivol had not invested 100% in his last fight with Beterbiev. Eddie Hearn expected him to do better this time.
I think what Frank says is right. It's going to be interesting. I said in the first fight, when you fight Beterbiev, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's how long you can keep him off before he gets to you. And Dmitry did that for 9 rounds. To do that for 12 rounds, it's very difficult. And I think this time, Beterbiev will try and speed that clock up. He'll try and get to Bivol quicker. And if he does, it'll be a very tough night's work for Dmitry, because his feet are fantastic. You've got to keep punching. And Beterbiev wants to throw with you. And what Bivol did as they closed the rounds, he stopped punching. His movement was still great, but every time he came out, he wouldn't throw those 3 or 4 shots, and he'd just keep getting walked down. So, very tough fight. It was interesting to hear Bivol say he wasn't 100% last time. So, if he is 100% this time, I fancy our chances.
Hamza Shiraz has also weighed in on the potential rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. He advised Bivol to land more punches and never stand in front of Beterbiev, as he thinks it is silly to do so. Considering this rematch as a same repeat, Hamza went on to predict a stoppage for Beterbiev in this highly anticipated rematch.
The thing he can do different is throw more punches. But he threw enough the first fight, because I don't think you can. It'd be silly to stand with Beterbiev. It'd be silly to stand with him. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a repeat of the first fight, maybe even a late stoppage for Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Andre Durrell also weighed in on the upcoming fight between Bivol and Beterbiev, praising Bivol for his outstanding fighting skills. He described Bivol's style as a prime example of Soviet boxing and confidently predicted that Bivol would emerge victorious in the rematch.
Bivol is so great with his hands and feet. He has that Soviet style boxing down to a T. So he knows how to stay long. He knows how to find them shots, right? He knows how to be in and out, tricky, fake coming in. Second you shoot, he right back out, and he come with a counter most of the time. That's why I got Bivol.
Teofimo Lopez also shared his thoughts on this rematch. He thinks the outcome would be the same and predicted that Beterbiev would go to hurt Bivol this time. He said, "I think the same outcome. Hopefully Bivol does better than the first time. I think Beterbiev is going to hurt Bivol this time around, but kudos to Bivol, man. He boxed very well, but he just didn't show enough grit in the last championship rounds. It's a great fight." Roy Jones Jr. has shared his analysis of the upcoming contest, highlighting some crucial factors. He believes Beterbiev's typical aggression could work in favor of both fighters, giving Bivol opportunities to land counter. However, if Beterbiev takes a more cautious approach, Bivol could gain the upper hand, as he nearly did in their previous encounter. Speaking to the Ring magazine, he said, "I think it's going to be another great fight, another epic fight. I'm thinking Artur is going to be more Artur this time, which could be good for him or it could be bad for him, because when you go for the kill on Bivol, it gives Bivol the chance to hit you with those counters. But when you don't go for the kill on him, you give him the chance to edge the fight out like I thought he did the first time, or be a draw. We'll see what happens. I think Artur learned a lot from it. I'm sure Bivol learned a lot from it too. David Benavidez also voiced his support for Bivol, pointing out the key skills that could lead to his victory. He highlighted Bivol's technical prowess and significant weight gain, making him a tough opponent capable of winning the rematch.
I'm kind of leaning again with Bivol. Bivol is a great boxer and he has punching power. And then Beterbiev, I think he's a little bit older. You know, I think his body's breaking down a little bit. He works really hard. I don't take nothing away from him, but he does a lot of weights. And in boxing, when you do too much weights like that, that's when you start to break down more. So
Anthony Yarde has shared his forecast for the rematch between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Reflecting on their previous clash, Yarde pointed out the key factors that could influence the outcome. He stressed that for Beterbiev to inflict more damage on Bivol this time, he must implement certain strategies effectively.
I do think Beterbiev won the first fight. It was a close fight. People will start saying stuff about robbery. I don't know about all that. It was a very, very close fight. Could have went either way. And the second fight, I see Beterbiev winning again, if I'm honest. But this time, if he goes to the body a bit more, I think he can cause more damage.
Artur Beterbiev's sparring partner Callum Simpson also offered his thoughts on the upcoming rematch. He expects the fight to unfold similarly to their first encounter, with Beterbiev emerging victorious. Simpson went on to predict that Beterbiev would score a stoppage against Dmitry Bivol in either the 7th or 8th round.
The fight will go similar to how it went, but I'm hoping from round 7-8 Beterbiev will put his foot on the gas and get the late stoppage.
So that was all for today here at Ring Rivalry. Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev have made their arrivals, and the anticipation surrounding the rematch is reaching new heights. While the trainers of Beterbiev are confident that the odds are in their favor, do you think Beterbiev will prove again that he is the best? Who do you think would win this rematch, Beterbiev or Bivol? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Want to get all the latest updates on boxing? Click on the bell icon now.